So, California's strong gun laws. Our state is ranked number one in gun safety, with gun death rate 40% lower than the national average. And Governor Newsom is doing even more to get weapons of war off California streets. There's my reading comprehension. I'm talking about having a great education, and I just said Carolina instead of California. I'm just kidding. I am smart, I promise. I do well when I'm studying in my legal studies degree. Um, so that's a fun fact here because a lot of states attack California for their crime rates, yet their crime rate in regards to gun deaths is 40% lower than the national average. And I think it's just a fear of people understanding that democratic policies can actually be successful. I was going to get into why Republicans just don't want success in the United States for anyone but themselves, but the top 1%. But, I'm going to digress on that. So, California and Governor Newsom strengthened and expanded red flag laws and ghost gun regulations and prohibited the sale of semi automatic rifles to people under 21. I think that is phenomenal. I don't think anyone under 21, honestly, anyone in the United States, needs a semi automatic rifle. And by putting those regulations on semi automatic rifles to people under 21, I feel like that will not stop mass school shootings, obviously, but it will hinder the devastation from a school shooting if one were to happen. So that is definitely a positive. Um, Newsom invested in local government efforts to seize weapons from people who are prohibited from having them. I would need a little more information in regards to that and what their qualifications on prohibited weapon possession is. So that would need a little bit more research. So let's do what prohibits having guns. Oh, why does my laptop want to be slow today? Wants to be slow. So, if we're diving into what prohibits Californians from having guns, according to state and federal laws, criminal convictions such as felonies and certain misdemeanors, and juvenile convictions. Some offenses committed as a juvenile can also restrict gun ownership until the age of 30. Court orders, such as restraining orders or protective orders, or red flag laws, which we just discussed, also known as gun violence restraining order, allows family members, law enforcement, and others to petition a court to temporarily remove someone's firearms if they are deemed dangerous. Mental health. Individuals who have been involuntarily committed to a mental health facility. That's a strong word because you have to think of involuntary. Found mentally incompetent to stand trial and found not guilty by reason of insanity are prohibited from owning or possessing guns. I think mental health is such a big opportunity for our whole country to understand how mental health can affect someone and the effects that it has on someone in regards to owning and possessing a weapon, a dangerous weapon like a gun. When we talk about mental health, especially those involuntary committed, I just don't feel that people who have mental health issues that are not taking the right steps to address them should not have weapons of destruction in their hands or in their home. Yes, I do believe in the Second Amendment. I do believe people do have rights to have guns to protect themselves, but sometimes the right to protect yourself does not mean that you have the right to ignore your mental health. And affect and potentially hurt other people because you're not taking your mental health serious. So when it comes to the Second Amendment, I think there are guidelines and restrictions that states, and actually, not even states, I think it should go federally, that the federal government should implement, saying, hey, we're here to protect people. You have a right to own a gun, but you have a right to own it responsibly. So other factors are substance abuse, age restrictions, and dishonorably discharged from the military, people who have renounced U.S. citizenship, and certain non-citizens such as undocumented immigrants or those on non-immigrant visas and less exempt. Oh, I thought we were just so pro-immigrant in California, right? No, they actually have laws that are here protecting Californians and Americans from undocumented immigrants who decide to have guns in their possession. So it's not such a blanket statement. It seems like he, as governor, is really taking the initiative to say, hey, this is what we can do in California, so that way we can protect Americans. So, gun laws, from what I'm seeing on his website and how the laws work in California in regards to red flag laws and things of that nature, I think that's a big win. I think he can run on that. I think he can run on his statistic that's on even his website and probably so many other websites, that gun crime and gun death rates are 40% lower than the national average in other states. So that is a big positive for me in regards to Governor Newsom for becoming the Democratic nominee. And I think when you're strategically running for president, which you should do, Governor Newsom, I think you need to paint it as, I support your right to own a gun, but I support your right to own it responsibly. I support your right to not hurt people intentionally because you're not taking care of yourself. I support your right to own a gun. I don't support your right to hurt other people or put other people in danger and harm. I think that puts across a point saying, I believe in the Constitution, but I believe the Constitution has restrictions when it comes to the safety of our very current day and age, and what is available to people at certain stages, such as semi-automatic rifles. No one under 21 should own a semi-automatic rifle. And I think there is a fine threshold that he can really touch middle America and, I don't want to say far right, but right-leaning voters in that sense, saying, I support your right to own guns. You're not mentally unstable, right? So why do you have an issue with us putting restrictions on people who are mentally unstable? You are not. So you can own a gun. You have the right to own your gun. So I think that would be a big factor for him to run on. I'm having indigestion because I'm getting old, and I don't like it.